If you're a man over 60 and you've started noticing changes in your performance, sensation, or confidence, especially down there, I want you to stop and listen carefully, because what you're feeling is real. It's not in your head. It's not your fault. And, most importantly, it's not permanent. You're not alone. Every single day in my clinic, I see men, strong men, walk in with the same quiet struggle. They're going to the gym, they're eating clean, they're doing everything they were told to stay healthy. Yet, something still feels like it's fading. That firmness you once woke up with, gone. That deep sense of presence, that confidence, that spark, now replaced by a quiet question you don't dare say aloud. Is this the beginning of the end? I'm here to tell you, it's not. In fact, what if I told you that simply pressing 3 specific points on your own body, with nothing but your hand and your breath, could help restore blood flow, rekindle sensation, and even bring back the spark you thought was gone forever? No pills, no pumps, no shame, just natural, restorative power, already inside you. I'm Dr. Emma, professor of urology and men's health, and I've spent over 30 years helping men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond reclaim the very strength, confidence, and connection they believed they had lost. And today, I want to share something with you that very few doctors talk about. Not because they don't care, but because the system rarely teaches them this. What I'm about to show you doesn't require a prescription, just a willingness to slow down, reconnect, and learn the language of your own body again. Now here's what may surprise you most. These 3 points, they're not new. They've existed on your body since birth. You've just never been taught how to use them. They are not myths. They are medically backed activation zones, small but powerful areas tied directly to circulation, nerve stimulation, and your body's intimate energy pathways. And once you learn how to use them with breath and intention, everything begins to change. Before we begin, a message to the men who are still with me. Before I show you the first point, I want to say something that I wish every man over 60 could hear from his own doctor. Your body isn't broken, it's just resting. That strength you used to wake up with, that vitality that made you feel grounded, masculine, powerful, it didn't vanish. It simply went quiet. And now, with just a few minutes of focus, breath, and awareness, we're going to gently wake it up. Let me share something you won't read in a medical textbook, but I've learned it after working with thousands of men over 3 decades. Most of the changes we go through after 60, they're not signs of damage, they're signs of disconnection. The heartbreaking moment. So many men face alone. I've had men, proud, stoic men, sit in my office and lower their voices when they ask me, "Doc, I used to wake up with full vigor. Now I wake up, and it's like there's nothing there. Did something go wrong?" I always look them in the eye and say, "No, nothing broke. Your body's just gone quiet, and we can wake it back up." Because the truth is, your male vigor, your circulation, your sensation, your response, it's all still there. It's not gone, but it's been left unattended, ignored, and eventually, it stopped trying to get your attention. The blood vessels are still intact, but they're sluggish. The nerves still exist, but they've gone numb from disuse. The system is still wired, it just hasn't been activated in years. And the worst part? Most men assume it's their fault, that they've somehow failed, that they've aged out of their masculinity. That couldn't be further from the truth. Let me give you a metaphor I often use with my patients. If a light switch hasn't been flipped in years, the room stays dark. But that doesn't mean the electricity is gone. It just means the circuit hasn't been touched. And these 3 points I'm about to show you, they're like flipping that switch. Not with pressure, not with force, but with awareness, with breath, with intention. You are still alive down there. Let me prove it to you. I've seen men become emotional, tears in their eyes, after simply feeling a warm sensation return to their lower body. not because of physical pleasure, but because of what it symbolized. Hope. That they were still whole, still capable, still themselves. Because that's what this is really about. Not just about function, not just about intimacy, but about reconnecting with the part of yourself that helped define your confidence, your identity, your manhood. And the first step? It's not medication. It's not surgery. It's simply learning how to listen to your body again. Because your body has been whispering to you. You just haven't been taught how to hear it. The first activation point, where your energy begins again. Let's begin with what I call the first gate of return. This point is one that almost no man ever thinks to touch. Not because it's hard to find, but because we've never been taught that it matters. This point sits just above your pubic bone, between your navel and your manhood. In Eastern medicine, it's known for restoring reproductive energy. In Western medicine, we think of this region as an intersection of blood vessels, lymphatic drainage, and nerve activity. It's like the silent command center that controls circulation to your lower body. Yet most men go their entire lives without ever acknowledging it, and that's where the first shift happens. Let me tell you about Thomas. Thomas was a 71-year-old military veteran. Tough, disciplined, a man of few words, but a deep sense of honor. He came into my office with a quiet ache in his voice. "Doc, it's like the lights are off down there, and I can't remember what it felt like when they were on." He wasn't asking for medication. He wasn't looking for a shortcut. He just wanted to know if it was too late. I told him about this point, right above the pubic bone, not to push, not to force, but to simply touch, breathe, and listen. "You're going to sit," I said. "You're going to place your hand just above your pubic bone, and you're going to breathe into it, not like you're fixing something, but like you're waking something up that never left you." Why this point matters: the science and symbolism. This region lies over what's called the lower abdominal aorta and pelvic nerve matrix. It's a space rich in vascular flow, where key arteries feed the organs of male vitality. It also contains lymphatic channels that regulate inflammation and clearance of cellular waste. And beneath it all, it houses nerve networks that send messages directly to the base of your reproductive system. But here's the secret. If this area remains tense, compressed, or ignored, that flow slows, the energy becomes muted, and your response system becomes numbed, not broken, just unplugged. This is why soft, intentional touch, paired with slow diaphragmatic breathing, works so well. You're not just stimulating tissue, you're reminding the nervous system, "Hey, we're still here. Wake up. We're not done yet." How to do it: the pubic activation practice. Here's what I asked Thomas to do, and what I now ask you to do, just once a day, ideally in the morning. 1. Sit upright in a quiet space, on a bed or chair. 2. Place one or both hands over your lower abdomen, just above the pubic bone. 3. Close your eyes. 4. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Direct the breath into your belly. 5. Exhale gently through your mouth for 6 seconds. 6. As you breathe, apply light circular pressure over the point. No digging, no tension. 7. Feel the warmth build. That's blood returning. That's life reawakening. What happened next with Thomas? Within a few days, he texted me, something he never did before. "Doc, I feel something, a pulse, a warmth. I thought it was gone, but it's not." It wasn't about instant erections. It wasn't about magic fixes. It was about hope. The realization that sensation was still possible, that he wasn't broken, just out of touch, literally and figuratively. He continued the practice. He began walking taller. He reported less frequent nighttime urination. He even started smiling again when he mentioned his wife. Why? Because this single act of self-connection began to rewire his relationship with his body. Remember this: you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. This point may seem simple, even silly, But what it represents is a turning point. You are no longer avoiding the issue. You are facing it with care, with power, with intention. That alone sets you apart from 99% of men, because true recovery begins not with action, but with awareness. And now, we move to the second activation point, a small, hidden area between the scrotum and the anus, rarely discussed, almost never touched with mindfulness, yet incredibly powerful for restoring intimate circulation. This one is especially emotional, and most men are shocked by what they feel. The second activation point, the silent core of male vitality. There's one area on a man's body that almost no one talks about. It's rarely mentioned at checkups. It's never shown on diagrams in your average health brochure. And most men go through their entire lives without realizing how deeply important it is. This is the space between your scrotum and your anus. In Eastern medicine, it's known as CV1, or conception vessel 1. In Western medicine, it doesn't have a poetic name, but what I call it, after seeing its impact in thousands of cases, is this: the reset point. Because when you activate this quiet, unassuming area with mindful pressure and breath, you can reignite dormant nerve endings, restore warmth and flow to your lower body, and even trigger a surge of grounded masculine awareness. Yes, it's that powerful. Thomas was just the beginning. Let me tell you about Harold. Harold was a quiet man. I am 74 years old, retired postal worker, lived alone in rural Minnesota. His words were always thoughtful, slow, but honest. "Doc," he said, "I haven't felt anything real down there in over a decade. It's like it just went dark. Not because of trauma, not because of surgery, but simply because no one had taught him how to keep that part of himself alive. And he wasn't talking about intimacy alone. He was talking about identity, the quiet confidence, the primal sense of strength, the feeling of wholeness. So I introduced him to this second point. I told him, you're not going to poke or prod or force. You're going to sit, you're going to breathe, and you're going to let your body remember itself." Why the perineum, CV1, is so essential. This area isn't random. It sits at the base of the pelvic floor, an intricate network of muscles, blood vessels, lymph nodes, and nerve endings that directly affect erection strength, bladder control, circulation to the lower organs, sensation and nerve conductivity, emotional grounding. When these muscles tense, collapse, or lose tone, the entire foundation of your male system weakens. But here's what's beautiful. This point responds not to pressure, but to presence. When you sit on it gently with care and focus, using a soft rolled towel or cushion, you're not just pressing tissue. You're telling your nervous system, "This matters. We're here again. Let's reconnect." How to activate. CV1, a grounded practice. 1. Take a small towel and roll it tightly like a mini bolster, about 6 to 8 inches wide. 2. Sit on a firm surface. Place the towel directly under your perineum, that soft space between your scrotum and anus. 3. Keep your spine upright, feet flat. Close your eyes. 4. Inhale slowly through the nose. 5. Exhale gently through the mouth. 6. Sit in complete stillness for 3 to 5 minutes. 7. Let go of tension in your jaw, your belly, your thighs. 8. Do not try to feel something, just breathe and be. That's it. Simple, powerful, profound. What Harold felt will stay with me forever. After just a few days of practicing this, Harold sent me a message. It wasn't long. It simply said, "Doc, I felt warmth today. A small pulse. I didn't cry, but I almost did." That's what this is really about. Not chasing youth, not trying to impress anyone, but reclaiming presence. Reclaiming that quiet inner knowing that your body is still yours, still capable, still alive. It reminded Harold that he wasn't broken. He had just gone quiet. And now he was returning to himself. Why this practice works, even without a doctor. When you activate this point daily, you're doing more than improving blood flow. You're softening pelvic floor tension, engaging dormant nerves, restoring your body's energetic foundation, building awareness that your body still responds to touch and to care. And maybe, most importantly, you're taking back control, not waiting on a prescription, not outsourcing your hope, but using your own hands, your own breath, and your own awareness to bring your system back online. That's powerful, that's masculine, that's healing. The third activation point, the forgotten path of strength. Now let's talk about the third point. This one might surprise you because it's nowhere near your groin, and yet it plays a massive role in how your body delivers blood, signals, and support to your most vital areas. I'm talking about the inner thigh, specifically the line that runs from the crease where your thigh meets your torso, down along the inner path of your leg. To most men, this area is just muscle, maybe a place that gets sore after exercise. But to those who understand the flow of male vitality, it's one of the most important highways your body has, and it's often clogged, tight, or ignored. Meet Earl, the truck driver who thought it was over. Earl was 68, a retired truck driver from the Midwest, built like a barrel, quiet, stoic, practical. He came to me with the same story I hear again and again. "Doc, I don't feel much anymore. I'm not in pain, but I don't feel strong, like my body's here, but it's not on." He thought it was just age. He thought maybe it was sitting for too many years behind the wheel. And in some ways, he was right. Long hours of sitting, years of leg tension, not stretching, not activating. It had left his inner thigh line stiff, and the blood flows to his lower body underpowered. So I introduced him to this third point, the inner thigh line. What Eastern and Western medicine say. In Eastern medicine, this line is part of the spleen meridian, a channel believed to regulate digestion, blood quality, and reproductive energy. In Western medicine, we focus on the femoral artery and femoral nerve, two massive structures that run right through this space. The femoral artery is a primary supplier of blood to your entire lower body. The femoral nerve helps control muscle strength and sensory signals in your legs, groin, and pelvic floor. If they're compressed or restricted, even slightly, your intimate responses suffer. "It's not that your body can't respond," I told Earl. "It's just that the roads are closed, and we need to reopen them, gently." How to activate the inner thigh line. 1. Lay on your back in a relaxed position. 2. Bend one knee slightly and let it fall to the side, exposing your inner thigh. 3. Use 3 fingers to trace the line from where your thigh meets your torso, down 4 to 6 inches. 4. Move slowly. 5. When you find a tender, tight, or numb spot, pause. 6. Place light, steady pressure there. 7. Breathe deeply. Slow inhale through the nose, long exhale through the mouth. 8. Hold for 20-30 seconds, then move downward. 9. Repeat on the other leg. This isn't about massaging your thighs. It's about stimulating the flow of energy and blood back through a pathway that's likely been dormant for years. What Earl discovered. After 1 week, Earl came back with something new in his voice. "Doc, I don't know how to say this, but I feel like I'm filling out again. There's warmth in places that felt hollow before. I even noticed more feeling in my legs, and for the first time in years, my morning felt natural." That one word, natural. It meant everything, because for most men, the real pain isn't in the lack of response. It's in the feeling that your body has betrayed you. But once you clear these pathways, the blood flows again, the nerves begin to fire, and your body starts listening again. Why this third point feels so empowering. Most men have never taken this kind of control. They've waited. They've hoped. They've handed their power over to pills, providers, or time itself. But when you lie back, place your hand on your own body and feel the warmth return. That changes everything. You're not just restoring function, you're reclaiming agency, and your nervous system knows it. It responds not only with physical changes, but with emotional ones. Confidence, calm, purpose, power. And that's why so many men who begin this inner thigh practice report not just stronger responses, but deeper sleep, steadier legs, and even a more centered mood. Because your lower body doesn't just carry you, it grounds you. And when it's reconnected, your whole life feels stronger. The 5 daily habits that supercharge your recovery. So, you've learned the 3 vital points to press. You've discovered the forgotten circuits of your male vitality. But now, we ask the real question. How do I make this stick? How do I make this change last? Because knowing is powerful, but only when it's paired with daily action. You see, these points are like keys. They unlock the doors to blood flow, nerve activity, and sensation. But if the wiring inside the house, your blood vessels, your breath, your habits, isn't functioning well, then that open door can only do so much. That's where these 5 simple, overlooked habits come in. They're not extreme, they don't require equipment, and they don't demand perfection. But when done consistently, they amplify the effects of your activation work by 10x or more. Let's walk through each one. Habit 1. Deep nasal breathing. The oxygen signal. This is the most powerful tool most men never use. Most of us breathe shallow, fast, through the chest, barely filling the lungs, especially when we're anxious or aging. But when you slow your breath and pull it through your nose into your belly, something incredible happens. Blood pressure lowers, nitric oxide rises, arteries relax, hormonal balance improves, and the nervous system shifts from fight or flight to repair and restore. This isn't philosophy, it's biochemistry. Try this simple practice. Each morning, after you press the 3 points, sit for 5 minutes. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Do this for 5 minutes. That's it. This one habit primes your entire vascular system, including the intimate parts, for function and flow. Habit. Warm morning hydration, the forgotten medicine. Most men over 60 wake up dehydrated. Why? Because your body loses water overnight through breathing, and your blood naturally thickens while you sleep. And thick blood? It slows circulation. A simple glass of warm water first thing in the morning helps. Thin your blood just enough to enhance flow. Stimulate digestion and detox pathways. Wake up your internal organs, especially the liver and kidneys, which influence hormone metabolism. I tell my patients. Treat your first glass of water like a dose of medicine. Drink it slowly, warm, not cold, with intention. You'll be amazed how something so small makes your entire morning feel clearer and more awake. Habit 3. Reduce evening sugar. Save your arteries. While you sleep, this one is subtle, but vital. That innocent evening dessert, that post-dinner sweet tooth, it's quietly inflaming the very arteries you're working so hard to support. When blood sugar rises at night, it can damage the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, especially the smaller ones that supply the lower body. That damage reduces flow, weakens response, and interferes with nitric oxide production. So here's the fix. After 7 p.m., avoid sugary snacks. Opt for herbal tea or warm water instead. If you crave something sweet, try a few berries or a piece of dark chocolate, 80%. You don't have to give it up forever, but if you're trying to restore what's been lost, this small discipline makes a big difference. Habit 4. Post-dinner walk. Activate the venous pump. Heavy workouts? Optional, but movement? Essential, especially after dinner. A 10 to 15-minute light walk helps your body engage its venous pump system, which returns blood from your lower body to your heart. Improve digestion, regulate blood sugar, and most importantly, keep your lower body circulation engaged. This isn't a workout, it's maintenance. If you can walk after dinner, even just a few blocks, you'll notice deeper sleep, fewer nighttime interruptions, and a more responsive body by morning. Habit 5. Respectful touch. The power of intention. This may be the most important habit of all, because how you touch your body matters. If you rush through your morning routine, pressing your points like a chore, with frustration or doubt, your nervous system feels that energy. But if you approach your practice with care, with respect, like you're tending to something sacred, your body opens up to it. Not because of magic, but because of what neuroscience now calls interoceptive awareness. It's the quiet, subconscious connection between your brain and your body's internal systems. When you slow down, when you treat yourself like you're worthy of healing, your body listens. That's not poetic. That's a neurological reality. These habits aren't just add-ons, they're the reinforcement. So remember, these 5 habits are not extras. They are the soil in which your activation practices take root and grow. Breathe deeply, hydrate wisely, reduce nighttime sugar, walk with purpose, and touch with intention. Do this, and those 3 activation points become more than physical routines. They become gateways to a completely new relationship with your body. And if you're wondering, does this really work? Can I actually feel a difference? Then stay with me. Because in the next section, I'll share with you the real stories, the messages from men just like you, who doubted, who hesitated, but took a chance. And what they discovered wasn't just stronger function, it was hope, identity, presence, wholeness, real stories, real men, real transformation. So far, we've talked about science, we've explored physiology, we've introduced practices rooted in decades of clinical work, but none of that matters as much as what I'm about to share with you now. Because what brings this entire journey to life, what proves this path is real, are the men who've lived it. Men who felt what you're feeling right now, men who had doubts, men who thought, I'm too old, it's too late, my body's past the point of return. And yet, they tried anyway. And what they found changed everything. Meet Harold, the man who just wanted to wake up, feeling like himself again. Harold was 74, a retired postal worker from a small town in Minnesota. He didn't reach out to me looking for a miracle. He reached out because he was tired of feeling invisible, even to himself. Doc, he told me, I wasn't trying to be 25 again. I just wanted to wake up one morning and feel like I still mattered. That line stayed with me, because this wasn't about testosterone. It wasn't about performance. It was about belonging to his body again. Harold started pressing the points. He drank his warm water. He breathed slowly, even though it felt strange at first. He didn't rush. He didn't judge the results. He just showed up. And within 3 weeks, his message changed. There's more warmth now, more fullness. And this morning, it happened. I woke up and felt something I hadn't felt in over a decade. It wasn't dramatic. It was natural, like my body remembered me. That wasn't just a physical shift. It was a spiritual one. And Harold's not alone. Meet Leonard, the man who didn't care about intimacy. Just connection. Leonard was 69, a widower, a grandfather, a gentle soul who had spent years giving everything to his family and forgetting himself in the process. He didn't come to me for intimacy. He came to me for clarity. Dr. Emma, he said, I don't even care if I ever have sex again. I just want to feel like my body still responds to me, like I'm not a ghost in my own skin. Leonard didn't know that the CV1 point, the perineum, was deeply tied to the nervous system's sense of aliveness and grounded energy. He began sitting on his towel each morning. He started doing the inner thigh tracing with soft breath. He cut out the nighttime sugar like I asked, and 2 weeks later, he wrote me a note I'll never forget. It worked. Not in the way I expected, but in the way I needed. I feel solid again, centered. I feel like I'm walking taller. This is what so many men don't realize. When you reconnect with the body, you reconnect with your identity. It's not about vanity. It's not about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming ownership, presence, dignity, vitality. From veterans to pastors, from farmers to artists I've heard from. Veterans who said this practice made them feel like warriors again. Retired teachers who began waking up with a calm confidence they hadn't felt in years. Factory workers who thought it was weird, tried it anyway, and now swear by it. A 77-year-old pastor who told me, "Doc, this isn't just about function. This is worship. It's honoring the temple I've ignored for too long." And now, it's your turn. If you've watched this far, if something inside you has stirred, even a little, that flicker of curiosity, of hope, that's no accident. That's your body whispering, "I'm still here, and I'm ready to come back." You've been given the map, the tools, the practices, the stories to prove you're not alone. All that's left is your yes. So if you're still with me, say it now. Out loud or silently, "I'm ready to feel alive again." And when you press those points tomorrow morning, when you sit quietly and breathe into the body you've walked with for decades, do it like you're greeting an old friend, because he's still in there, waiting to be remembered. Your daily ritual, remembering your power every morning. So here we are. You've made it through all 7 parts of this journey. You've heard of science, you've discovered the points, you've learned the habits. You've felt the stories of real men who, just like you, had almost given up, until something stirred within them again. But if there's one thing I've learned after decades of walking with men through these sacred transitions, it's this. The real transformation doesn't happen from information. It happens from devotion, not religious devotion, not discipline for the sake of ego, but the kind of daily, quiet devotion that says, "This is my body, and I choose to care for it, not because it's broken, but because it's worthy." That's the energy I want you to carry forward. Not urgency, no shame, but respect, presence, ownership. Your daily morning vitality ritual. Let's make this easy to remember. Every morning, before coffee, before distraction, do this. 1. Hydrate. Drink a warm glass of water to reawaken your system and begin blood flow. 2. Breathe. Sit upright. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Do this 5 to 10 times to reset your nervous system. 3. Press your 3 points. Point 1. Just above your pubic bone. Gently press and breathe. Point 2. The perineum, CV1. Sit on a soft towel or rolled cushion and breathe in stillness. Point 3. Your inner thigh line. Trace and hold pressure where tension lives. Each point, each breath, is not a mechanical task. It's a message to your body. We're here. We're listening. Let's begin again. Anchor it in meaning. If you want to make this last, if you want it to become a true lifestyle, here's the key. Anchor it in meaning. Don't treat this like an exercise. Treat it like a homecoming, a ritual of reconnection. You are not doing this to fix something. You are doing this to reclaim something. Because your masculinity was never meant to fade. Your power was never designed to be outsourced to pills or procedures. And your body? It still knows what to do. It just needs your attention again. A gentle challenge for tomorrow. Here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, before the world pulls at you, sit down. Place your hand over your lower belly. Close your eyes and say, "I'm ready to remember myself." Then begin. 5 minutes. That's it. That 5 minutes could mark the turning point of your next 20 years. One more gift. Your legacy is in your hands. Before we close, let me say this. You are not just doing this for sensation. You are doing this for legacy. For your wife, your children, your grandchildren, yourself. Because every man who reconnects to his body, his breath, his vitality, sets an example. That aging doesn't mean shrinking. That softness doesn't mean weakness. That a strong man is not one who hides, but one who shows up for himself again and again. If you've stayed with me through this journey, I want you to know something from the depths of my heart as your guide and advocate. You are not broken. You never were. You are simply ready. And this, right here, is the beginning of your return. So start tomorrow, not with force, not with pressure, but with breath, presence, and the quiet knowing that you are still whole. If this message touched you, comment, "I'm ready" below. Let me know you're with us. If you know a man who needs to hear this, share this video with him. You could change his life. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell, and join our growing community of strong, wise men choosing natural vitality over silent suffering. This is Wise Wellness. I'm Dr. Emma, and I'll see you in the next video, where we keep reclaiming health, dignity, and life together.